Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rearview mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? You have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
Man, what they gonna do with this black on black crime, man? I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining today's episode of Talk Show King. I'm King Jason, and to my left,
King Gregory, and to my left,
I'm King Darwin, and to my left,
King Eric.
and all together we are the
Talk Show Kings.
All right.
Well, it's good to see each and every one of you gentlemen today, and want to first off say Happy Father's Day to any of you that are fathers and dads, and also to our viewers as well. Happy Father's Day to all dads out there. So with this today's episode, we have a lot of things to talk about, and for the first time, we have live content that we're going to share relating to our conversations today. So please be prepared to watch these shots. We learn how to use videos from social media, primarily from TikTok. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first topic today is, as we know, it is Father's Day, which also falls under Mental Health Month as well. So I want to first say to my father, Ricky Jenkins, he's my dad. He means a lot to me, has done a lot for me in my life. And also to my biological father, Brandon Hamilton, who's also has been in my life as well, have done a lot for me as well. I want to give all complete gratitude to my dads. And hopefully you guys are watching. I love you guys. You mean a lot to me. So, Brother Greg.
Thank you. In addition, I would like to thank all the men out there that are doing what they're supposed to do as real fathers, not fake fathers. We're talking real fathers. Darwin?
And I would like to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers as well. And we can't forget the June 19th celebration that's going on this weekend and been going on for this past month. And just, big ups, man, and keep doing what you guys been doing, man, representing us kings.
Yeah, and I want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers and all the real men out there who stand up, and they may not have biological kids of their own, but they are a father figure to someone out there. Just keep doing that. And also we talked about this a little bit last week about how Father's Day is not nationally recognized as much as Mother's Day. And I know some of us wasn't here. I still want to know your take on that.
Sure. It is very shocking because I was talking with the guys before the show had started. A lot of dads do not get the same recognitions as moms do on Mother's Day, And then I was also just sharing one of the kings is that, Father's Day is in a month where we have several other events as well. We have Juneteenth, Mental Health Month, we have Pride Month, and probably a couple other things, and how over time it tends to kind of dwindle away, to where we don't get the full attention as we deserve as being kings and being as dads and fathers and husbands and as we should. So to me, it kind of like it hurts, it kind of like, all the hard work we put into, taking care of our family, making sure they're okay, make sure they're good, and, still don't get the full appreciation that we deserve.
And I agree with that. Now, one of the things that was once told to me was a family doesn't realize the impact a father makes until the father is gone. Then they realize the impact that's really being made.
1,000%.
In conjunction with Eric just mentioned, as men, and I think I'm probably the senior member of this group. With that being said, we have to get used to not getting credit as being a father. That comes with being a man. We have to just accept what we get and move on and do what we were supposed to do. We're not going to get the credit. It's never coming. We're never going to get the same credit as mothers get for obvious reasons.
Yeah, of course.
But whatever credit we get, we just have to accept it and make the best of it and keep doing what we're doing.
King Darwin, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, yeah, just like the other kings, I think that when Father's Day come along, we do get slighted. But, what you going to do about it, right? We've been slighted forever. That we can, since I've been existing here, that I see. So, it's nothing new for us, to be able to, like you say, just being, not really highly thought of on the day. They think of you on the day, but at the same time, it's not really highly publicized. But,
yeah.
But we still do our job. We still show up for the party, and, hey.
And it's very interesting, too, because of how not just our family, but even society as a whole has high expectations for fathers. To where it's like you want to make sure the house is paid for, the food on the table, clothes on the back, gas in the car, make sure the kids are okay, make sure they got their school supplies, all that kind of stuff. Make sure the grass is cut. The expectations are so high, to where it's like, okay, but I'm tired. And then when we say we're tired, we're judged as being lazy or half doers and stuff like that. But yet again, it's like, hey, I'm a human being as much as you are. I deserve some credit. Like, I bust my tail every day to make sure you good. And this is what I get in return. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's just like the roles is definitely trying to be reversed right now in society, as you can see. A lot of the women of today are most of the breadwinners of the family. And a lot of the black men, I would say. I'm just saying, I'm talking about, our community, okay? A lot of the roles have been reversed. A lot of the women has the good jobs, and the men are here, fighting to, make ends meet in a lot of cases. So, and the system is giving the black women and women, period, a lot of perks that we don't get. So we got to work extra hard to, be accounted for out here in this society, and like you said, a lot of people don't really take to us as much, but at the same time, we here.
What's on your mind?
I think we would be remiss if we did not mention, when we look at the numbers of single parent female headed households, when we're looking at over 70%, unfortunately. So when you have that higher percentage, consequently, you're going to have a lot of disrespect for men.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times it's uplifted in the community. How many baby mamas you got? Oh, you ain't got but two? Man, you on the bottom of the totem pole. So the respect aspect of fatherhood has been kind of put on the back burner, unfortunately, for far too many of our young men in our community. So we got to keep it real with that aspect.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that, because I know that there's a lot of kids that don't even know their fathers.
Absolutely.
So, but, I did look up, it was an interesting fact that I looked up on how much is actually spent between Mother's Day and Father's Day. Mother's Day, this year they spent $34 billion.
Wow.
On Mother's Day. And that included anything from flowers to cars, jewelry, houses.
Wow.
When the stats came out on how much was actually spent just up until yesterday on men on Father's Day, it was $11 million less than that. Well, I'm sorry, $11 billion less than that. So you're looking at what, 14 billion?
That makes better sense.
So I'm surprised it was that much.
Exactly. And and they said the main items that were purchased for fathers were tools, clothes, grills. Those were the main items that were purchased.
Oh, yeah. And then, since we have our King Greg who could share a lot of knowledge, because it kind of makes me think about how society has placed us fathers in a stage or level to where, moms don't have much income as dads do. So a mom can't buy no father, no car, no house. They'll say, oh, that falls under his responsibility, not a mom. Why would a mom buy her husband a car or buy her husband a Rolex or something? Because once again, women get a lot of jewelry on Mother's Day. That's another high value product that a lot of people buy for their moms, are jewelry.
Yeah, I think kids buy those high price items for their mom.
Right.
They're not buying that for the dads, as you just mentioned.
Correct.
That's something he don't need that. Dad's got everything. He's always been the giver. And mom is always, and justifiably so, because a lot of moms do put in a lot of hard work.
Exactly.
Could that be something that's fallen down from generation to generation. Because as when King Greg and I were talking before the show started, I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, why are we in this position? Was it us? Was it society? Was it the government? Because even looking back, especially during segregation, a lot of dads were arrested and the moms were there taking care of the family. So, could that also play a role as well of how down generations on to now, how it affected dads differently?
Well, now you're about to open up a whole can of worms here now when we go about what transpired. Again, I was around in that time, and that kind of took place in the 67s, right when they took, they had a stipulation or a law where men could not reside with women in the same occupation if they were not married. And if they were not married, they would not get any federal funding if a man was there. So that divided the family. The men had to be separated. And so that created a certain situation in the black community.
Which is now called Section 8.
Oh.
You're exactly right.
Break it down.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things. I'm sorry. Go ahead, King Darwin.
No, I was just agreeing. That's a big part of the segregation and separation in the black families, because like you said, it's been systematically done. It's not something that we actually did. And then at the same time, we have to look at the whole situation. We, in this society, we have been engineered to really cater to women, and in other cultures, it's the woman really catering to the man. But in this society, it's the men pretty much catering to the women in our situation, I would say. And so, hey.
Yeah. Now, I don't want anybody to think that I'm bashing Mother's Day or anything like that. But what I am saying is, even though the Father's Day don't get the same recognition as Mother's Day, I do understand, because I do understand why mothers get more recognition than the fathers do. But, it just amazes me to see exactly everything that goes on in the, how you want to put it, when Mother's Day is approaching, all of the ads and all of everything just switches to Mother's Day. But as soon as you don't hear anything about Father's Day, because it goes right after Mother's Day, Easter, all you hear about is 4th of July coming up, or Juneteenth coming up.
That's policy, that's under marketing.
Right. So, mothers deserve it. Don't get me wrong, because they're considered the caregivers, where fathers are considered the providers, the fathers that's in the house. They are considered the providers. And I get that, and I understand that. So don't think I'm bashing Mother's Day, because I'm not. I just wanted to bring attention to see how everybody felt about how the marketing goes when it comes to Father's Day and Mother's Day.
Now, Eric, what you just hit, you hit the stats earlier. If Mother's Day is making $140 billion and Father's Day ain't making but $30 billion, they're going to put more emphasis on the $140 billion.
But how much? But see, here's the thing. How do you know they're not going to, have they tried more marketing? Because they're making, think about it, they're making, like I said, $14 billion with no marketing.
Right, but I think what they're using is the logic of everybody is going to be closer to their mama. Okay? I don't care what you say or what we say. Everybody going to be closer to their mama. Most people anyway.
That's true. That's true.
That's where the money going to be.
Yeah.
And so you always got to, as you well know, follow the money.
There you go. Well, that will kind of conclude on the Father's Day conversation. And once again, moms, we love you guys. We're not bashing you all. We're not downgrading you. We're just kind of laying out of the difference of what we see of how Father's Day is treated versus Mother's Day. So now our next topics are really major. What has been going on lately for the past few weeks to a month now. First one I want to talk about, and the hot topic, is the current war between Israel and Iran. We all know and aware of how Israel has been battling Gaza for over a year now. It's soon. I think the second or third anniversary is coming in October in a few months, which soon, you know how time flies. But now Israel is getting involved with Iran. So what we're going to do first, we're going to get ready to see our first video. And after our first video, we're going to go ahead and see what the kings think about it, share their thoughts, their feedback. And we want you guys to pay attention and make sure you see what we're seeing so we can kind of all be aligned on as well.
It's getting kind of crazy out here, you know, as far as with the wars and all that, you know, situation and stuff. You know, you just got to be mindful today. You know, I think
true.
Everything is coming to a head. You know,
It's getting worse by the day, you know, and it's just how it is, man.
So if I'm understanding what's transpiring with this war, now I know Israel they had beef with Palestine, obviously. They just was bombing the Gaza Strip last week. Now they bombing Iran this week. So look like they got a beef with a lot of different countries. And with that being said, with Trump backing them brings up a lot of suspicion in my mind. That's all I got to say on that. Trump backing Israel? Oh, okay. We understand what that's all about. And I'm going to flip it over to my other kings and see what they think.
Well, hold that thought, King Eric. Let's go ahead and watch this first clip that we have, guys.
Okay.
Oh my God. Opa. תפילות. Oh my God. אולי לא קרה כלום. Oh my God. opa. תפילות. Oh my God. אולי לא קרה כלום.
All right, Kings. So that first video that we just saw, what are you guys' thoughts about that? Let's start with King Greg over here.
Actually, I didn't quite see all of the clip myself personally, so you guys going to have to help me out with that.
Well, basically, you know, it just shows, I think Iran may be setting off some missiles headed towards Israel. But I think, you know, they just getting ready to just go bananas right now in the world. You know, I mean, I think it's just going to be an all-out war right now because I think they're actually literally trying to tear this world up before we get it back. You know, that's my thoughts. I think that, you know, their time is ending and it's time to be returned back to the rightful owners. And so they're willing to tear this world up as much as they can before they turn it over to us. That's my thoughts on all of this propaganda, all of these wars that's about to be started, and even the protests, you know, and all of that stuff.
Can somebody tell me what is the issue between Iran and Israel?
That's the whole thing. A lot of everything has to do with money and control and power. If you have the money, you got power. If you got the power, you got control. That's all it is.
Yeah, and it's about, you know, Israel always been in odds with the Palestinians, right?
Right.
And so the Palestinians, they feel like the Israelis have been just bombing them and trying to take over the Gaza Strip for decades now. And they actually trying to really actually fulfill that move. And so Iran has been trying to
stick up for them like Big
up,
Brother.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Israel has shot some missiles over there
off
to them. So they're only responding to what Israel has done. So, and at the same time, so Iran been waiting on this.
And Iran also, if I'm understanding things, they're trying to get a nuclear bomb as well.
Well, they have.
They have them.
Yeah,
Because remember doing.
I mean, I know Trump they were going back and forth on whether or not they were going to get one or not.
Well, they've been trying to stop them from doing the research and the testing and building the nuclear bombs and weapons for a long time. But I don't think Iran actually ever
No, I think from what
to stop their
I think what I've heard recently over last week is that Iran has been doing research on, I think, nuclear plants, to where they won't have to use I think fuel or gas anymore, and just a nuclear plant. And of course, a lot of companies, especially the oil companies, don't like that. The gas companies not going to like that. But then also, I think too, in my opinion, when you mentioned a little bit about the other stuff that Israel has been doing, how other countries been watching the attack on Gaza, I think a lot of countries are tired. And Iran has, when they threw that dice, it fell right into Iran's hand, and now it's like their turn. So they're like, oh, we're about to get a piece of this cake now. Any thoughts?
Well, I just go back to, I remember Trump saying early on in his presidency, talking about building real estate on the Gaza Strip.
I heard about that too.
Right.
Yeah, I heard about
so
that too.
So it's like all of that, again, money. It's all about the money.
Absolutely. Follow the money.
That's true. And then another thing too, I was even reminding, I think it was either Daddy Bush or Son Bush, was when they were keeping an eye on Iran, because Iran was, like you said, they were building nuclear missiles, nuclear bombs, and all that kind of stuff. And then how it fell into the Obama administration, if I'm correct, of how they had to still keep an eye to where they even not force Iran, but I think Iran had agreed to sign a some type of agreement, I forgot what they called it, where they will not produce any more nuclear weapons, because how they are afraid they was going to sell them to other countries like China, North Korea, and stuff like that. Do you guys remember any of those topics or stories back then?
Talking about back when he was talking about weapons of mass destruction.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm thinking China already got nuclear bombs.
China
already has it.
So they don't have to sell nothing to China. No. China create their own stuff. So, I mean, that's why sometimes I sit back and I wonder why would countries even mess with China? They have too much. They're way far advanced than the United States is.
Way advanced. As I told people before, I said the thing about China, it is mandatory for all males when they turn 18, they have to go through basic training. No excuse, no turnaround, no nothing. So they have all the manpower when it comes to a war. If you want to try China, they're going to have the bodies to use to come and fight.
I don't understand.
Well, it ain't going to be that kind of fighting no more. They ain't going to be doing on the ground fighting. They're going to be doing some other type of,
then that's
fighting.
And that's a different topic for a different day. That's the reason why. And I'm going to say this because why do you think every country is racing to put so much money into AI?
And China's a leader in AI.
They are. Because China has been on the news quite a bit about hacking into our defense system.
Oh, my God.
And they, were even accused of hacking into our phones, hacking into our emails, which is true.
Real quick story. I was a supervisor down at the convention center. Tons of conventions. And anytime we have tech conventions, you always see a lot of Asians lingering because they're trying to take pictures after hours and get information that they shouldn't obviously be getting because they're there after hours. And then when you say, oh, it's time to go, they don't speak no English. You know what we're saying.
But you spoke English during the convention.
Yeah.
You understood then, right?
So all we say is, they understand that. But again, China is always in the learning and stealing mode.
Yeah.
Whatever ideas that they can steal and get, they are jolly on the spot.
I believe that China is a highly intelligent businessman. And the reason I say that, if you look back in China's history, before they were, I guess, collaborated with the Europeans at that time, China already knew how to dictate a country, how to take a country, take land, and all that kind of stuff. But over the generations, they got smarter. Now, instead of them fighting, like you said, by wars and battles and all of that, now they're offering loans. And they're offering loans with high interest rate to countries that they know will not be able to pay that money back. So they're going to use their land to build infrastructure, to build international businesses there. Because when I was in Colombia for study abroad, I ran into some Chinese people that were guests in a hotel, and I was like, well, now I've already seen. But then as I went on later on the trip, I started seeing highways being developed, and they were using the same tools and equipment that I've seen on news stories that China uses, which actually throws up highways swiftly than an average American highway is developed here. So, and then you got to think about it. They're not doing it for free. They made an agreement. If you let us build this infrastructure in your country to improve on highways and stuff, all we ask in return is you let us put real estate here, build new businesses here, and it goes from there.
Just to piggyback on that, they're also investing in Cuba.
True.
For those that didn't know, and I'm sure most of us know, they're buying up tons of land and resources in Africa.
True.
That's one of the biggest investors in Africa are the Chinese.
Right.
And don't forget here, they buying up a lot of real estate
and farms
and farms here in
Correct.
America as well.
Absolutely.
And they are the biggest buyers of gold coming out of the United States from
Correct.
the Treasury. They have bought more gold coming out of the United States than any other country.
So in my opinion, I really believe this Israel and Iran battle is something more deeper than we actually know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, of course. I mean, again, everything still boils down to the money and the power. I mean, if you look at it, how far is Iran from Israel? Not far at all. So if they get that land, that's big money for them.
In conjunction with that, do you see how strategically Trump is positioning himself with the UAB, United Arab Association? So you know what they got. They got the oil and the money. That's it. And so they running stuff over on that side. So if you got Israel on this side and you got the Arabs over on this side, who gonna give you a $500 million airplane and they ain't expecting nothing in return? Are we that stupid?
That is completely
Who
true.
gives somebody a $500 million and they ain't looking for nothing? And they run money. That's what
true.
money people do. They don't give away money and don't expect no money in return.
That's
Everybody is not that stupid. Don't insult my intelligence. I
That's
know
true.
better than that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate you on this story. We're going to take a few minutes break, commercial break, and we're going to come right back and we're going to talk about our next topic and final topic, which is another current event that's been going on in the United States. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and welcome to TV 1061. Join our network and broadcast your film live across the continent. Come to our studio and film and stream your TV show, sitcom, and showcase and broadcast it worldwide. Combine multimedia with your live stream. Independent filmmakers show your movie and afterwards interview your cast live. Sponsors, advertisers, I'm talking to you. This is your chance for global exposure. These are exciting times that we're in. Traditional TV is but a thing of the past. TV 1061 is on the Roku platform. Roku is an industry leader in internet TV. It has a viewership of 53 million and counting. It is the most popular and fastest growing internet TV platform. If you are interested in developing and showcasing your movie or show, or interested in coming in as a sponsor or advertiser, please send us your contact information with a brief description of your interest to 1061tv@gmail.com. Thank you.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development.
Funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party. All right, see y'all later. Bye. Hi, I'm Michael.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
Man, what they gonna do with this black on black crime, man? I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.
All right. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in today's episode. I'm King Jason. First off, I totally completely forgot when we first started. I would like to let everyone know that if you want to give us a call and ask any questions, share any thoughts, concern, please don't hesitate. Call our phone number. You'll see it on the bottom of your screen. And we would love to hear from you and, to just see how everybody else, feels. What are your thoughts about what we're discussing? And if it's not relating to what we're discussing, that's also appreciated as well. All right, so our next topic that we're going to talk about for the next half hour is the ICE protesting that has been going on for the past few weeks over in California, to where it has now became a nationwide protest. We have two videos that are relating to this topic, but we're going to first, I want to hear what the King's thoughts are about this before we go to our next video. So, King Greg, tell me about, what are your thoughts about this protest that's been going on in California that has spread it nationwide about the ICE?
Thanks, Jason. Hey, I'm kind of like many people that I've spoken to. Where was the National Guards when they was running up on the White House? When police got killed? While Trump was making a speech, what was all the National Guards then? Now all of a sudden we got all these National Guards around. For why? People are protesting peacefully. I just got an issue. Oh, you're bringing them out now. Where were they at when people were actually getting killed and they were rushing the White House? Where were they then?
Well, I can tell you where they were. Sitting there waiting on Trump to tell them to go ahead and move. And he wasn't going to tell them to move because at that time he was still the president. And I don't understand one thing that I don't understand is about the National Guard being put out is when there's a protest dealing with white America, when they're protesting, it's not considered a dangerous protest. It's not considered a violent protest. But as soon as any other nationality have a protest, they want to bring out everybody and their mama to try to control a peaceful process and a peaceful protest. And I just feel like by him bringing out the National Guard, I think it just made the protest worse. I think it turned it violent. Those are my thoughts on it.
What are your thoughts, King Darwin?
About the protest? Man. For one, I feel everybody has a right to protest, right? Non-violently. Everybody has a right to protest. But with the National Guard being, set out for that occasion, I feel like it's only adding fuel to the fire, right? To excite a riot. And then, you got moles in the crowd that's going to do something that's going to excite the riot because, all of my thing is about, all of these differences that's going on. It's all just to escalate into something worse than what it already is. Yeah. So that they have justification for killing some more people or locking somebody up. Because this society and this system is, you know, is geared to excite a riot. You know, they want the civil war in this country. So, and these other countries is here, and it's going to escalate the situation. And do I feel that we need to be participating in this protest? No, I don't feel black people has a part in this protest. I think we need to stay out of it because nobody's coming to our rescue. This is what kills me about us. You know, we always are trying to side with other nationalities and countries and things that may be here illegally.
Yeah.
You know, they all here illegally, if you ask me. You know, I mean, because I feel this is our land. This is our country. So I feel that they all need to go back home. You know, everyone needs to go back home, literally. But at the same token, we got to be smarter than that.
Yeah.
We have to know that the plan is to excite a riot, tear some stuff up, kill some folks, you know, and then next thing you know, the martial law, the next thing you know, it's going to be a whole big disaster going on, and we don't even have nothing to do with it.
See, the biggest thing about this ICE protest is that it started off peacefully. You got to remember, we are practicing our First Amendment where we have the right to protest. It is not illegal. It is part of our Constitution. And it seems like our government and our elected officials have are ignoring it. They haven't forgotten it, but it's being ignored to where they want to get complete control of us. That's my thought, you know, and the reason I'm saying that is on the second clip I'm going to show you guys, you're going to really see how it escalated pretty swiftly once the LA Police Department got involved before the National Guards came along. And let me hear what King Eric has to say real quick before we go to our second clip.
Well, you mentioned the Constitution. That our new administration don't care nothing about the Constitution. The first thing he talked about was First Amendment rights. And what is he doing? Okay,
Exactly
you say
right.
you could protest peacefully, but yet and still you want to shut everybody up. You don't want nobody to say something because they're talking, because it's negative towards you.
Correct.
As long as you're not talking negative towards me, you can say anything you want to say. That's basically what he's saying. He don't care nothing about no Constitution. He don't care nothing about that.
Yeah.
And the people he have in office, the people who he have up under him that were elected because of the Constitution, they are agreeing with everything that he say. Some of them. And basically our constitutional rights have been disregarded.
Plenty of times. All right, well, let's go ahead and get ready to see the second clip. And I want you guys to look at it thoroughly, and we're going to talk about it.
Échate leche, güey. I'm recording you, bro. I'm not. It's my family in here, bro. It's my family right here, bro. It's my family right here, homie. It's my family right here, bro. Nah, I'm not gonna move. It's my family right here, homie. You tripping? It's a raza. Hey, don't touch me. You can't touch him, bro.
Now, wasn't that a very crazy video to see from our law enforcement officers who's supposed to serve and protect us?
Well, see, the governor of California didn't want the National Guard there anyway.
No, he didn't. He wanted to handle it himself.
He wanted to handle it himself. And I feel like he should have been able to handle it himself unless he called for help. Now, there have been instances and I want to say, if I can remember correctly, the last Trump administration, when Michigan called for Trump's help and they didn't get it.
That is exactly right.
So why can't the governor handle it? The governor of California handled it himself.
First time since
No, go ahead.
First time since Lyndon Baines Johnson that this has happened. So that's before y'all's time, 67. This has never happened before. And this was to enforce the civil rights, That's why Lyndon Baines called him out. But when we get back to Donald Trump, and I think everybody knows he is trying to make America great again. And see, that's a code word that a lot of people don't understand what it means. And I think most of us do. Make America, unfortunately, white again. And so how do you do that? You get rid of all these immigrants and you hold down the other minorities in the country. That's how, in their minds, you make America great again, in their mind.
And then speaking about that too, which is a great point that you stated, that we have to also remember, I think maybe I say past 10 years, it's been a very big topic in the white community of how their population is starting to dwindle to where they are afraid they will one day become the minority.
It's inevitable. Ain't no afraid. The handwriting's on the wall. You ain't got to be that smart to figure that out.
But you got to understand, this country has always allowed immigrants in other countries and other nationalities into this country from day one. Okay, because you got to remember, go back to the 13 colonies.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't just Europeans. You had the British, you had the French, you had the Poland, you had
all them Europeans.
Right. Well, those were the ones, but they were still immigrants.
Yeah.
They were still immigrants, and they still was chartered here. You understand? To overcome us, right?
Yeah.
Because we were already here, of course, and so guess what? And that's why you see they have always put these Arabs in our communities, the Mexicans in our communities, the Chinese in our communities. They've been doing it forever. So they just want to pick and choose now. Now they want to just say, okay, we want to be able to say, okay, let's slow up now or let's stop it now. But they've been doing it forever. And then what about the South Africans that he just flew in?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this is all some propaganda. It's
It
all
is
a bunch
exactly
of bull,
right.
That they just it's just something to stir up the people. As long as they can keep people stirred up and some animosity and some fear and all of this stuff amongst people, they're winning.
And you talk about fear and everything, how they're winning. On this third and last clip, let's see what our commander-in-chief says of how he's going to handle the LA protests. Watch.
Breaking news out of Los Angeles, where President Trump has deployed the California National Guard after 3 days of confrontations between protesters and law enforcement over the administration's mass deportation.
Now, the way it was announced on the MSNBC News of how Trump is going to handle, and not just handle, but even control of sending not just the National Guard, but also the U.S. Marine Corps, who are based in, I think, South California, which are also known as one of the toughest units in the Corps, to where they're sending them to patrol and guard the protests. What are your thoughts on that, guys? I mean, is that something the president should do? Is that legal?
Well, in my opinion, Trump always wants to be the head of everything. He thinks this is like a reality show. So he wants to control the tariffs every day is something, because he's dingling the strings on the tariffs. Whether they can come in, he adjusting the prices, right? So he's in control. So he's on the news every day. So with this, what we're dealing with now, he's on the news. Dealing with Iraq, he's on the news. Dealing with everything, he wants to be the center of attraction. And that's the number one quality of a narcissist.
That's it.
He wants all the
Bingo.
attention and control everything.
Oh yeah.
When he doesn't have control and he doesn't have the attention on him, the spotlight is not on him, He'll dwindle away. But as long as he's able to keep showing up and giving these crazy stipulations, making these crazy, just look at him and Elon Musk. We all knew that little bromance was gonna be short-lived.
They're gonna get back together. They're gonna get back. Stand by.
What's your thoughts, King Darwin?
My thoughts is that, like us kings were just talking about, this attention, giving this attention to this, attention to that. What we need to really be focusing on is us. We need to focus on ourselves. We need to be trying to get ourselves together. We got a lot of things going on in our community and amongst our people, and they keep throwing these things at us to just keep our attention distracted from us coming together and really focusing on our own community and our own people. It's all a distraction, and that's what we have to be able to come to realization and say, hey, enough of the bull. We need to really sit down and have these deep conversations, man, with each other so we can come out of this rut. Because as long as we keep giving our attention to this bull crap, this mockery, this all of this old propaganda and all of this stuff, we'll never get anything accomplished. We're never going to get anything accomplished. We got to smarten up and say, the hell with all of this Trump, hell with all of these wars, and we need to be focused on before the war hits your community. Because that's what's coming. That's what's going to happen if we still stay into this, trying to figure out this and trying to pick this fight with this and that with that. It's just crazy to me, honestly.
Just real quick, the war has already hit our community. We don't even know it.
That's right. That's my point.
When he eliminates Head Start, what community you think that hit? That ain't hitting his community.
Yeah.
That's hitting our community, our babies, not his babies. So the war has already started.
Oh, it is. And since you mentioned that, it's part of one of the things that he has been doing the major budget cuts on, and it really is. It's hitting and targeting the black community, the low-income community, the disabled community, and the retired community. It's really hitting them because if you're not making a certain amount of money, you mean nothing to them. If you're not part of the 1% or the ultra 1%, you're not their concern. But what they're forgetting is the money that they're making comes from us. We are their consumers, and we are the ones put money in your pocket. If you want to hurt us, it's going to sooner or later hurt you. And I don't think that's something they realize or really may not even care about.
I have to beg to differ. They realize it and they care about it because don't nobody look over 1.5 trillion. Trust me. They definitely, that's number one on their list.
But they already got us in their pocket. That's the thing.
And they want to keep us there.
Because we keep on paying attention to all of this bull crap. You understand?
Mass distractions.
Mass distractions at its all-time high. You understand? And that's what's going to keep us in the same position that we're always in. And until we smarten up and say, hey, man, we need to focus on our communities, our people. Because like you said, they're taking away this, they're taking away that.
Taking away
everything. And, our elders going to need our help. Our youth already need our help. So,
that's true. And then not only speaking about our youth, when you mention about our youth they're in a situation where they don't really care about much anymore. They don't care much about going to college. They don't care much about working. They don't even care about much even finishing high school because they're going to say, why? What is the purpose? From what I'm seeing, this is not going to become better. You're putting me in a situation where I'm going to stay living with my parents because I will not be able to afford my own apartment. I mean, now just for a studio, you're looking to pay up to $2,000 a month just for a studio. You think someone who is going to work a job at McDonald's making probably $13 an hour can afford a $2,000 apartment? No.
And that's my point, because I have done a lot of work with our youth, and mentoring and coaching and all the above. And that's the biggest thing, like you said. They really think that this society has given up on them, They don't care nothing about school anymore. For what? Why are they going to go to school? We don't have them set up. We don't have a career path for these kids. You know, they have to, unless they have a strong parent or parents that's actually leading them into that success path, then they don't have that. And a lot of our youth today, they don't have the guidance. They don't have the mentorship. And we don't have the programs either that's setting them up for success as we did before, you know. So this is what we have to be able to develop and create again, so that our kids feel excited about going to school, feel excited about becoming an adult and their careers. But at this point, they don't have no excitement about coming out of school and focusing on their career path.
Real quick, by this being Father's Day, I think you brought us full circle. Because when you have the father and the mother home, there's a better foundation set because they get both sides of the coin. So if the father's not there, which is causing a low interest in Father's Day like we first started out, that's a problem. And when we look at other communities that have a lower single mother-headed household, they are a little bit more progressive and successful. So I think we all know success can and will come if you have a solid foundation.
King Eric, you have any thoughts?
Well, I agree with all the kings here when it comes to that, especially how you brought it back full circle.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, it's you can be successful if you apply the lessons that you've learned being in that two-parent household.
But a lot of them don't.
And that's the problem. We have a lot of them that a lot of kids. I don't know, and I always use this analogy. I don't know if y'all watch Power, the show Power. Yeah. Okay, the show Power. You have Tariq. He's the son, and then he has two parents there at the house. Right. Tariq, his father and his mother are trying to teach him how to be better than them, how to work better than them, and not end up the way that they were. But he wants to do his own thing, and he think he knows a lot more than what they do. And so that's normally the mentality of the kids that we have and the youth that's going on today. They normally feel like, that's in a two-parent household, they feel like they know more than the two parents that and they ain't even lived the full lifetime yet.
That's a good example. Good example.
Oh my God, he hit it right on the nose, King Eric. I'm trying to tell you, these kids actually literally think they know more than us.
That's true.
And they only 16,
that is true.
They only live 16 years on this earth, 17, 18 years on this earth. And they actually literally think that they know more than us because they have everything that we have, I guess. You know, they have a cell phone, they have a computer. That's where all the information is stored. So that's where they think that they can go and look at and think they got all the information that they need to be an adult. And
so
that's the trick.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Real quick, as African American community, we do not respect our elders like other communities.
Yeah. So
we just do not respect our elders like other communities. I mean, where do you get knowledge and wisdom from but from your elders?
That's true.
They've been down that road.
So for this is our last 5 minutes of today's episode. I'm going to do something new, and because today is Father's Day, I would like for each of you guys to give out some fatherly advice to our viewers. Let them know, exactly what you feel and believe, just to prepare our future generations.
Okay, very interesting question, Jason. I guess the best wisdom I could give upcoming young men is not to start a family until you're ready. I used to do a program back in the middle school I worked at as a counselor, male responsibility. What does it mean to be a responsible male? Well, first, you don't want to go out here making a baby that you cannot take care of at an early age. That's one of the biggest problems starting off.
King Darwin?
My suggestion to all males and fathers coming up in this society is to do your research. First and foremost, find out who you are. Find out your role in this world and what your role is, and play your role. And it's going to take some research. Go back to our divine culture, not the culture that they've been giving us. Find out, study mindsets, understanding that right now a lot of us is in the Western mindset, and we need to be in that divine mindset. Learn those things, the Hermetic principles. I mean, these are things that I feel will help you understand how this system operates and how this whole thing evolved.
King Eric, got 2 minutes left, I think.
Well, for me, and I'm gonna be real quick, for any young man that's a father, a new father, or even you've been a father for a while, just continue to understand that the journey of a fatherhood is not easy. It's hard. It's hard. And you're going to need all the resources that you need to make you a productive father, a successful father, because you're not going to always do things right. You're going to make mistakes, but just keep your head up and keep moving.
All right. I want to first thank each and every one of you guys for joining us on our show today, and want to thank all of our viewers who attended our episode today. Once again, want to thank all the dads and fathers for a great happy Father's Day. You all have a good dinner with your family, spend time. We want to thank Douglas County and our producer and owner, Mr. Felix, once again for this show. This is a great, as we continue to learn and to collaborate more with our community of how to better improve our show. If you guys have any questions, please hit us up on Twitter or one of the King's TikTok account and just share your thoughts. Once again, thank you guys for today's episode. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
Man, what they gonna do with this black on black crime, man? I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.